So there actually was one before that, and there is a picture of it. But the they later on, and that one came into like it was ratified in 1777. Okay. But here's my question: we are a democracy, right? And that, Okay, but we're based with some democracy. You're right. The Republic of the United States of America. But we have a democratic, I cannot talk today. We have a democratic system of government. Why do we need a constitution? Anybody know? The Constitution of the United States of America is the supreme, what? Law of the United States. Did you know that? Okay. So everything that we do has to be what? Based on the Constitution. If it's not based on the Constitution, then we are not keeping up our end of the bargain, so to speak. Right? A constitution, I checked it out in the online dictionary, a constitution is a system of fundamental laws and principles that prescribe the nature, function, and limits of a government or other institution. So, the Constitution spells out the limits of our government. That sounds really important to me. I'm just a nobody, but it just sounds important. Listen to what Benjamin Franklin said, and then I think you'll start to understand why they had to have a constitution. Because remember, democratic ideas mean what? We all vote on everything. The people vote on it, and if the people say no, it doesn't go, and if the people say yes, it goes. But look at what he says. Democracy must be something more than two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. The sheep is not going to win that vote, is he? So the Constitution was formed to protect us from majority rule. Ever thought about that? Wow. So if the majority got together and voted on something, say, getting rid of all Adventists, the Constitution actually protects us as long as it lasts, because it is only paper, unfortunately. The best example of the fact that you have to have a law to base your society on comes in the French Revolution, which happened between 1789 and 1777, right along in the same time period, because we were influenced as a country a lot by the French. During that time period, within 10 years, France went from a absolute monarchy, which means the king said everything. And I'm going to say this, I've said it many times, a monarchy is the best and worst type of government. If you have a good king, it is great. He's just, he takes care of everything, and nobody has to vote because he can make decisions just like that. It's great. But it's also the worst form of government, because if you have a tyrant on the throne, then things are bad. But anyway, they went from an absolute monarchy, which is the king says what goes, everything. Then they went to a democracy, and then they ended with Napoleon Bonaparte, the emperor, right? The emperor of the Holy Roman Empire at that time period. So, and some people say that this is a pattern for democracies, that they start off under bad situations, the people rise up, they make a democracy, and then slowly they go right back to having one guy in control. Happened in Greece with Alexander, it happened in Rome with Julius Caesar, and hopefully it doesn't happen in the United States, but that is, anyway. In this 10-year period, it's estimated that something like 16,000 to 40,000 people were executed. They come up with a new invention. Does anybody know the name of it? The guillotine. Yes, or guillotine, however you want to say it. But most people died within the small time period. Some people say a year. I've heard some people say 3 years, called the Reign of Terror. And this is in France. And they actually went through and just killed anybody that they thought was against the government. No constitution, see. And they may have had one, but they didn't go by it, right? What am I trying to tell you guys, huh? The liability of liberty. What does liability mean? It's a big tangled lawyer term for responsibility, right? If you're liable in a case, that means you have the responsibility, right? Or accountability. Thank you. Yes. So, is there a liability inherent in our liberty? Certainly, yes. Right. This came to me as I was getting out of the shower. I don't know if I heard it somewhere or if I thought of it myself. I've been looking at all this stuff for a while, trying to get ready, and it just popped out. We, the people, must ensure that the Constitution is upheld so as to secure liberty and justice for how many? All United States citizens and anybody else that wants to join. Huh? For a few of us. Yeah, just some of us. Not just the elite. No, it's for all people. So what on earth does this have to do with church this morning? Why am I talking about the Constitution besides the fact that it's Independence Day tomorrow? Well, as I was thinking about this, another thought occurred to me. The founders of the United States framed the Declaration of Independence upon what? The law of God. And I can prove it. Listen to that first statement again. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created. Right? What's that based on? That's based on the law of God, right? Because it says we are created by God. And that they are endowed by their who? Creator. With certain unalienable rights. Right? So, the Constitution was framed with the idea that God exists and that He created us and that He gave us liberty. Look, right out of the Ten Commandments. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is. Does that include man? Of course it does. So the Constitution is based, in the end, on the Ten Commandments, which say that we are created by God. Right? Listen to this. This is, I was looking at Thomas Jefferson, because Thomas Jefferson is the one that mostly penned the Declaration of Independence. And if you know anything about his background, he wasn't strictly a Christian. He didn't necessarily believe that Jesus was the Son of God. But he did believe that there was a God and that man was created. So look at this. This was out of, notice in the corner it says Wikipedia. You can see, it's behind me. That means I got it off Wikipedia. I'm kind of naming my source there. Throughout his life, Jefferson was intrinsically, interested in theology, biblical study, and morality. So he studied the Bible. That's what that means, right? He studied the Bible. He had a lot of knowledge of the Bible. In fact, one thing I read said that he admired Jesus Christ as a great moral teacher. Of course, we know that's kind of silly just to see him as that, because he said some things that don't leave you the room to say that's all he was. But anyway, so the point is the founder or the writer of the Declaration of Independence did believe in God. And listen to what he said right here. The God who gave us life gave us liberty at the same time. Is that not what Adventists teach? That we were given free choice? Isn't liberty a part of free choice? That's what we're doing when we vote, right? We're choosing. Sometimes we don't have a lot of good choices, but yeah, that phone is getting on my nerves. I know it's getting on his. Anyway, okay, so that is a quote from Thomas Jefferson. So why is it today people seem to be turning against the Ten Commandments? I mean, the guys that I work with and people that I come in contact with, they feel like if you try to keep the Ten Commandments, or that you teach the Ten Commandments in the wrong way, that you're a legalist. Like Kendrick said this morning. You're a legalist because you want to uphold the laws of God. But